Ladies and gents, boys and girls, children of all ages. Speaking of mental, anyway. I'm just kidding. Anyway, we are here with chapter 25, the currently last released chapter. One Last Coffin. Sounds slightly ominous. But for which side? Not sure. Anyway, on with the story. As soon as I turn jam music on, keep forgetting to do that. There we go. Nope. I might cut that out. Anyway, on to the chapter. One Last Coffin. Again, sounds ominous. Wow, already the action is pretty damn intense. The sparks are almost flying out of my screen. Okay, that's one bloody fast sword. Sword arm, anyway. Taurus and Sturban moved so fast and fierce that a cloud of dust billowed and the shock waves that came from the collisions of their swords. Okay. The shock waves that came from the collisions of their swords sent shock waves. Doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, sent shockwaves throughout the replica of Powahi. But Sinon could use her Akaku mask to see through the cloud, showing her... Oh, I actually have one of the newer ones. Okay, there we go. Yukaku, mask of X-ray vision, or telescopic vision, can be used both ways. Looks like this. Well, the new one does anyway. The older one looks similar. But yes. I also have the newer mask of water breathing and the newer mask of speed as well. So, probably if those come up in the story, I'll show you those two. Anyway. Her Akaku mask to see through the cloud, allowing her to focus on the battle at hand without worrying if she might miss or not. Her eyes widened as she watched Mataris fight. Really fight, for the first time. He was fast, powerful, unpredictable, and savage. His sword strokes were so fast that most of the time, she could only get an outline of where they had been, only actually seeing the weapon moving whenever it slowed down upon colliding with his opponent's rapier. Sturban, however, had the advantage in speed, be it ever so slight. His attacks were less powerful, but he hit Mataris more often than vice versa. Also, his thicker armor made it hard for Mataris to land a solid hit on him. However, he seemed to have a more rigid form of attack, one that Mataris was able to predict enough that he could dodge the attacks more often than not. You know, I might just start narrating the entire stories. I'm going to start that now. Anyway, more often than not. Mataris, no. Mataris, no. Michael is counting on me. Sinon thought grimly. And after he saved my life, I won't do anything less for him. Tell me, Mataris grunted. Tell me, Mataris grunted as he shoved his enemy away. Who else from Laughing Coffin is in on this little charade of yours? Charade? Sturban asked as they stood a few feet apart. Aye, Mataris nodded. I'm fairly certain I know how you've been able to maintain the illusion that you can kill in this world. Using a shrink disc, you make your opponents so small they cannot be seen, while your partner or partners kill the target in the real world. Or am I wrong, Death Kanoka? Sturban growled. He raised his sword again. Too clever to be allowed to live! He thrust him, and Taurus reversed his grip on his sword, so that after Sturban slid past him due to a deflection, he was able to immediately stab him in the back, finally scoring a solid hit. Sloppy, Mataris said with a shake of his head. You Laughing Coffin scum always got sloppy whenever your plans were discovered. Excuse me. Where was I? There we are. You could always cover up the actual murder. Never a foiled attempt. You talk too much. Sturban growled as he whirled around with the sword in hand. And yes, I know, these are not the actual voices. Then again, I'm not the original voice actors, so if you have complaints about that, shut the fuck up. And also, I have just about no filter when it comes to language. So I apologize in advance and afterwards. Anyway. You talk too much, Sturban growled as he whirled around with the sword in hand. You never used to talk this much. His red eyes narrowed as he realized he was missing something. Red eyes. Mataris thought hard as he lunged with an overhand slash at Sturban. Where in Aincrad did I see them? Not at the raid. Before that. His sword was blocked, and he shoved Sturban backwards, right into Sinon's line of fire. The bow fired, and Sturban turned at the sound. He managed to turn at just the last second so that the bolt smashed into his mask, destroying the item covering his face and avoiding major damage. He leapt backwards, away from the toe of fire as he tried to cover his face. It was only for a second, but Mataris saw it. A pale, emaciated face with sharp cheekbones that stood out in an unnatural manner, showing an obvious illness of some kind. Then a mask of speed. Ooh. Come here. New mask of speed. I wish I still had my old ones, but those are with my little brother in San Jose. Anyway. Then a mask of speed replaced it. But the image... Well, I guess seeing that face would damage your mind. Anyway, but the image was burned into Mataris' memory. Sturban glared up at Sinon and whipped out his disc launcher, primed to fire. Mataris knew that he had only one shot at saving Sinon now. Red eyes. Red-eyed. Zaza, he said firmly. The man's body jerked involuntarily, throwing off his aim badly enough that he hit the statue Sinon was standing on. As it shrunk down, the girl used an ice ramp to avoid receiving fall damage. The disc attempted to return to Sturban's launcher, but Mataris beat it out of the air on its return trip to him. Red-eyed Zaza, Mataris repeated with a cold smile. Poe came up with the plans. But it was you who personally committed the most murders in Sword Art Online, was it not? The Black Toad took a step back in surprise. He had honestly never thought that anyone would recognize him by his old avatar handle, even if they had seen his face. Even in SAO, he had hidden behind a skull-like mask with gleaming red eyes. So few people had seen his actual face. The first time that Mataris had actually run into him personally was at the scene of Grimlock's crime, back in the days when Asuna had just regained friendly terms with them. I thought so, the Red Swordsman said it as his smile grew. Now I will be the one to execute the ultimate judgment upon you. And and what if you do? Zaza snapped. This is an SAO, Mataris. Killing me here accomplishes nothing. Au contraire, Mataris chuckled. Did you know that on the day of the launch, the nerve gear's safety was disabled? Of course you did. But did you also know that plugging it into another game does not turn the safety back on? Mataris gave a start of surprise, prompting Mataris to say, I thought not. Which means that when I strike you down, you will die. As you were meant to die in Aincrad. Not if I kill you first! And they began to dance with their blades again. You would be correct, Mataris grunted as he shoved Zaza back and retaliated. But fortunately for me, the same person that took records of who I told him were the surviving red players, as was the same man that arranged to have my helmet repaired. Gah! Zaza was finally at a loss for words. That's when Sinon took a second shot from point blank behind his back. He grunted heavily as the ice blast tore through his armor and drained more of his health. The girl had been approaching them from the sculpture to sculpture, waiting for another chance to shoot Death Kanoka. Now she leapt back as Mataris plunged his sword into Zaza's back, pinning him to the rocky ground. This is it, Zaza. The end of Laughing Coffin. When I get out, I will be making sure that everyone involved in this is arrested and jailed for life if they do not receive execution. You think this is the end? Zaza chuckled. You are wrong, Red Swordsman. You're still missing one thing. He'll find you. He'll kill you. Mataris severed his head with blazing silver eyes. I'm intrigued. I want to know who this he person is. I'm not sure if it's Poe or just I don't remember if Poe was captured or executed or if he got away. But something tells me that this he is not Poe. You know, P-O-H. I just pronounce it Poe because I don't know. So. Let me stop writing. But this he person intrigues me quite a bit. Anyway. No, Zaza, he growled. You and the rest of Laughing Coffin are done for. This last coffin that you prepare will be the one that you yourself will be lowered into. I wash my hands of you and yours. The body was incinerated by his wrath before the countdown effect could even take place, leaving nothing of his body. Up above, Zaza's toe star winked out. Mataris suddenly felt a great weariness overcome him, and he began to fall over. He would have hit the ground from sheer mental exhaustion had Sinon not caught him up. I'm kind of surprised she's strong enough to do that. Not being sexist or anything, just honestly surprised. You know, given how her avatar looks. Hey there, she said. You okay? He nodded as he stood back up with her help. Thank you for everything. You're welcome, Mataris, she said with a slight smile. Is it over for you then? Mataris shook his head in response. No, not yet. Even though I have done away with Laughing Coffin, one task remains to be done in this world before Sword Art Online is truly finished. And what's that? Sinon asked. Before Mataris could answer, he heard the sound of flight equipment being used above him. Sachi touched down a few feet away, but Leafa was nowhere to be seen. You hurt, Mataris said with a slight grimace as he looked at her health bar. She shrugged and said, It's not too bad. Forgive me, look at you! Did Death Kanoka do that to you? Mataris nodded and replied, Hi, Zaza. That was him. He sounds a bit cheerful there. Then again, it is Mataris, so. Red-eyed Zaza? Sachi asked with wide eyes. I remember Kirito going against that guy. Said he was the toughest player that he ever fought. Other than Heathcliff, I guess. I would be inclined to agree. Bo may indeed have may have been the brains, but Zaza and Johnny Black were easily the most capable assassins. Though I would say that Zaza had more skill out of the two of them. I hate to interrupt, but where did Leafa go? Sinon asked as she looked up at the sky. Did she? Yes, Sachi nodded. She took a hit from his toe of stone the wrong way. Managed to finish them off, but it was a hard fight, I admit. Well, she's probably waiting for you guys back home. Sinon said as she put away her crossbow. So we'd better finish this tournament up. Wait a moment, what about you? Mataris asked. Who will help you if the other cohorts are there? Cohorts? Sachi interrupted. I'll explain later, Mataris said. Addressing Sinon again, he said, Well, what is your plan for that occurrence? I have a friend who lives nearby, Sinon said easily. Remember Shupagiro? Oh, yes, the toe of earth. Mataris nodded. But perhaps to be safe, I can arrange for my contact in the government to send over some men to your place. Just to scare the other criminal off, eh? Wait. I can't ask for your personal information here. No, it's okay, Sinon said as she leaned closer to Mataris. My name is Shino Asada, she whispered in his ear. Sachi sniggered as Mataris stiffened in surprise, much to his embarrassment. And I live at ... Mataris nodded as he stored the information away in his mind for later use. Actually, you happen to be within 30 minutes of where we are diving from, Mataris said, struck by a thought. Would you object to us going over to check on you ourselves? It would likely be faster than the police. I like that, Mataris. Because, in all honesty, it probably would be faster than the police. Anyway, I'm not bashing the police. I mean, one of my friends is in the academy right now. But, no. Just, that is actually sadly the case a lot of the time. Anyway. No, that's okay, Sinon said with a shake of her head and a small smile. I appreciate it. But if you could send the cops, that would just be fine. I don't want to trouble you any more than I already have. Very well, Mataris said with a slight bow. As you wish. When he straightened, he said, Well, since we are forbidden from forfeiting this tournament, how should we play this out? Shall you and I duel and then then I commit suicide? There is absolutely no chance of me killing Sachi. Sinon grinned as she took out her crossbow and started filling with the ammunition case. In that case, you guys are too banged up to be any fun to beat, so... what are you up to? Sachi asked curiously. I'm guessing that you guys have never inspected a Voyinui weapon up close. Sinon answered. I have a sword from there. Sorry, Sinon, not Sinon, Sachi. I have a sword from there, but I don't see what that has anything to do with it. Sachi said with a cocked head. Well, you know how lightning gets added as an attack bonus? Sinon said as she continued to mess with her weapon's mechanisms. When Sachi confirmed that she did not know, Sinon continued on to say, Well, the power source for that is battery. They have to be replaced every now and then. But if you discharge some of your own elemental power into it, she sawed a bit of ice into a small glowing orb that was white in color, almost like a miniaturized Zammersphere. It immediately began to glow brighter, and the other two flinched. Eh? What did you just do? Mataris asked as Sinon tossed the orb at him. When he caught at it, Sinon grinned and replied, Turned it into a grenade that'll kill all three of us at the same time. Mataras threw it back. What does that accomplish? I suppose if the final contestants die simultaneously, they're declared the winner, and the reward is split. Sachi asked calmly. Sachi said calmly. Nice thinking, Sinon. No, it's not! Mataras sputtered as the yard cracked. Who's gonna get the golden masks? We need those to rescue Kirito and Asuna. Don't worry, you can have them, Sinon said as another crack appeared and light began spilling out of the bottom. I got what I wanted. You two can have whichever ones I get. Thank you, Sinon, Sachi said with a smile, for everything that you've done today. You're welcome, she said, returning the smile. Then she turned back to Mataras and extended her fist, which she clanked after a stunned moment. Thanks, Michael, she said with a softer smile. And thank you, Shino, he said with a returned grin. Aw, Lipo was right. You two are pretty sweet, Sachi giggled. Mataras shot her a baleful look, then shot the orb with his fire. The next instant, he could feel Sinon throwing her arms around him as the bomb went off, destroying the three of them instantly. Mataras' face was beet red as he woke up alone in his room. That was interesting, he muttered as he stretched his cramped muscles. They had tensed up while he was fighting against Zaza, so he was careful in his initial movements. He shuffled over to pick up his phone and was about to hit the dial-up button when the door flew open as Sayori threw her arms around her brother. You did it! She squealed. We finally brought down Laughing Coffin! I'm so proud of you, brother! I suck at chick voices. I heard that you won the tournament, Suga said with a smile as she walked in. Very well done, both of you. It was thanks to Sinon that we pulled through, Michael shrugged. Weren't you, Sugaha? Thank you. And I realize that I am probably horribly butchering the Japanese names. Except for Sachi. That one's actually fairly easy. And considering I had a friend named Sachi when I was little, it's kind of burned into my mind, the pronunciation of it. Anyway. Weren't you, Sugaha? Thank you. Had you not helped us, we never would have had a chance. He bowed to her slightly as a mark of respect. You're welcome. Sugaha smiled again. When you log back in, you should each find 2 golden masks in your inventory and a congratulations message from the game masters. Good. Now then, I have somewhere to be. As he put away his phone and started to walk out of the room. Wait, where are you going? Damn, Facebook. Stop beating at me. Anyway. Good. Now then, I have somewhere to be. And he put away his phone and started walking out of the room. Wait, where are you going? Sayori asked him. I know Shino said that she would be okay, but I need to make sure of it myself. And Michael called back. Don't worry, I shouldn't be long. But if I don't return within an hour or call within 30 minutes, send the police to the address I text you. With that, he was gone. What? Suga said as she turned to a smiling Sayori, who was trying very hard not to laugh. Hey, what just happened? My big brother finally has a crush! The red bullet is a thing! It was pretty much the only pairing that was left, really. Aside from Sugaha. But she already had... Wait, no, that's not even a viable pairing either, because she has her boyfriend. So it was the only pairing left! Michael biked to where Sinon and told him where she lived. Apparently, she lived in an apartment complex on the 2nd floor. It wasn't too long before he found the place, parked his bike at the front, making sure to lock the chain on it, before dashing through the cold evening air. Honestly, I find it kind of funny. When your friend could be in danger, yet you make sure your bike's not stolen. Priorities, friend! Get your priorities in order! Simple! Anyway, at first, as he approached the building she mentioned, everything seemed well. But as soon as he climbed up the last step, of course, he heard a familiar scream, mixed with a series of thumping sounds and another hysterical scream. One that sounded of madness. Oh, he would know that sound very well, Mataras would. Yes, he would. The other Death Kanoka. he thought angrily as he would dash for the door that he had heard the sounds coming from. To his frustration, it was locked. Very well. Time to put my rehabilitation to the test. He roared as he spun his body fast. As he spun his body fast to gain momentum for his reverse kick that broke the door in two. That is some rehabilitation, my friend. Can you tell me where he went? Like, I got nothing. Anyway, he looked in the apartment to see a girl on the floor, clothes partially torn off, and a young boy crouched over her, with a look of a rabid dog on his face. He's complete with froth. And Mataris rose up within the boy they called Michael. Not even letting out another shout, he darted forward and smashed his knee into the boy's face, causing blood to spurt out his nose as it was broken. He cried out as he scrambled back to his feet with surprising quickness, but Mataris was far from finished. Lashing out with a straight kick this time, Mataris got him square in the chest, sending him crashing into the table that served as a desk for homework. Now, he finally turned around and said, "Run, Shino!" I think that said should be shouted, but, you know. We get the point. Then, to his surprise, the other boy grabbed him by the shirt and slammed his head against the corner of a wall, stunning him temporarily. Gotta love Dew. Anyway. Get away from my Asada! He screamed. This is your fault, you damn freak! She's mine! 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 And he pulled out a silver tube from his pocket. Freak, am I? Yeah, Mataris growled. He was stunned with blood coming out of his head, but even in such a condition, he would not go down easily. His right palm shot out in a flat-headed technique, smashing into his attacker's throat and sending him reeling. The blow wasn't sufficient enough to be deadly, but it did hurt like hell, even in the boy's maniac state. Says you. He went back against the other wall, coughing and gasping for breath as Mataris tried to get to his feet, but the second Death Kanoko would have none of it. Die, damn you! He screamed, finally unveiling the needle. Uh-oh. Mataris thought blearily. Anyway, he readied himself for the next attack, his hands coming up in a defensive stance. Just as Shino slammed a radio into her attacker's head, he swayed, dropping the syringe onto the floor, wide-eyed. And now, much like Mataris in the sense that his head hurt very badly. There was a fundamental difference between the two boys. Mataris was used to pain. It was his daily companion, a constant that he rarely had anywhere else. Every day in Aincrad, when a sword pierced into his flesh, he hurt. When those he loved wept in despair, he hurt. When his family remained trapped while he had gained his freedom, he hurt. His enemy had never known such pain before in his life. This is nothing to the Red Swordsman, he snarled in his mind as he straightened his fingers into a spear-handed technique, his deadliest form. He darted forward while before Shino could take another swing at her attacker. He jammed his sword hand into the shorter boy's solar plexus just as he drew in another breath to scream. He coughed up blood on Mataris' jacket and went limp on his arm, his eyes rolling into the back of his head. Mataris shoved him off, none too gently, before sinking back against the wall and sliding down to the floor. He felt his warrior's blood settle down as the girl he knew was Shino sat down beside him. Michael watched her with bleary eyes as she reached towards his head tentatively. Jeez. What? Error 404. English not found. Are you? She asked, afraid of hurting him more. I will be fine. But I would appreciate some ice while I call the police. Let me do that. Excuse me. She said as she moved to the refrigerator while Michael pulled out his phone. She kept glancing over the still form of her former friend to see if he was going to be getting up at any moment. However, Michael looked up at her and said, "He will not be bothering you again. Where I hit him, I could have killed him if he were breathing out. Fortunately for him, he was breathing inwards, so my technique simply knocked him out. And will stay that way if he knows what's good for him." He glared at the boy as if daring him to get back up. He looked as though he were about to add something else, but then the police came on. "Hello?" Michael said. "Yes, I need help with an attempted assault. Yes, I and another teenager have sustained injuries, though I think that none of them are life-threatening. I can. Wait, where are we, Chino? I believe I may have a concussion. Let me hand you over to the resident of the apartment we are at." He passed the phone to Shino, who took it and placed the cloth that she had wrapped the ice in gently on his head. It immediately turned red with his blood, and she widened her brown eyes in concern. She seemed to be saying something, but Michael wasn't comprehending. He realized that he was looking at Shino, the real Sinon, face to face for the first time. She was pretty. Brown eyes, short hair that was a bit messy from her encounter, and tied in a small pigtails on either side of her face. Her mouth and nose were both small, and her frame was lean, yet short. "She's beautiful," he thought groggily as his vision began to blur. "Uh-oh, I seem to be passing out. And if I'm thinking about her in such a bold matter, I must really have taken a bad hit." Darkness enveloped his mind. Sorry, just had a little pop-up there. Stupid McAfee. Darkness enveloped his mind, just like when the world of Aincrad disappeared around him. Michael slowly came to awareness, first feeling something in his right hand. No, more like something was enveloping his right hand. It was warm, comforting. It was a warm, comforting sensation, and he smiled slightly as he struggled to return to consciousness. Then his other senses began to come back, and he realized that his head was killing him. It would be, too. He groaned slightly as he stirred, only then realizing that something was indeed holding his hand. Or rather, lying on his hand. His eyes snapped open as he saw a small tangle of brown hair resting atop his right arm. 2 small hands resting on his own, keeping it warm. He blinked rapidly, trying to remember how he had ended up in such a state. Was I just in Sword Art Online? Wait, no, that was 2 months ago. His eyes widened further as his memories returned, including his victory in the tournament and his rescue of the girl that had helped him win it. He gave a slight start of surprise as he realized that Shino was in the hospital room with him, and she had fallen asleep on his hand. She hasn't left your side the whole time," she said in a familiar, sweet voice. Familiar, quiet voice. I don't know where the hell sweet came from. Ugh. Michael turned to see Sayuri with a soft smile on her face as she looked at her brother. "How are you feeling?" "Terrible," he admitted. "How long have I been out?" They were both keeping their voices down, as not to wake Shino. "Only a night and a day," Sayuri replied. "I know this is probably the last thing on your mind right now, but we only have 3 days before Asuna's wedding." Michael nodded, his chin firming. "I remember that," he said. Did Shino give you the masks yet?" "No, she hasn't left you this whole time, remember?" Sayuri replied patiently with a grin. "She rode with you to the hospital in the ambulance and got a hold of Sugaha via her cell phone. Once we were all here, she explained everything, including the way that Laughing Coffin killed people. They used some kind of poison on their victims to kill them. It made it easier to slip the whole thing past autopsies, since the bodies were already decomposing after they were found." Sayuri looked down at Shino, who was still asleep. "She was so worried about you the whole time, but I told her that you'd make it through. After all, you are the Red Swordsman, right?" "I don't know. I cut it close with that little encounter." "Still, you saved her life," Sayuri countered. "She told me what happened, and if you had gotten there any later, she might have been violated, or worse, killed." He sighed as he looked down at the sleeping girl. What happened to her attacker back in the apartment? Turns out that he was her friend from IRL. We met him at Shipugero. Sorry, Shipugero. Damn it. That's the other problem with laptops. They don't really balance on your lap properly. There we go. He was Zaza's younger brother. Zaza? Michael asked, hoping that she would get the message. Yeah, he's finished. She nodded. Every single Laughing Coffin member is in jail, waiting to be questioned. According to Master Kikoka? I still cannot pronounce that name for the life of me. Chances are that only half of them were involved, but it's likely that their cases will be reevaluated. They might even go to jail. They'd better, Michael growled. Relax, big brother, Sayori said soothingly. At the least, they'll be under so much surveillance for the rest of their lives they won't be able to cause trouble for anyone again. I don't know why, but for some reason, the line, there wasn't a, was it the line? It was, a line from Phineas and Ferb where I have a sister named Candace is like getting a TV crew or something to try and bust her brothers. And, the reporter person says, we have so many cameras around this place that not even a squirrel will be able to break one without us noticing. And of course, the only camera that's working is the one that catches the squirrel breaking wind. The line I was thinking of was, and it's not from Phineas and Ferb, it was, if they so much as sneeze, we'll be there with handcuffs and a tissue. It reminds me of that. Here you go. At the least, they'll be under so much surveillance for the rest of their lives that they won't be able to sneeze without them showing up without officials showing up with handcuffs and a tissue. Again, my damn stuttering. Hanging out with Ryan too much. He muttered. She mumbled, slowly waking up. What? She lifted her head, looking at Michael with foggy eyes, and blinked twice. Good morning, he said with a smile. Did you sleep well? I trust that the pillow had enough cushioning. Oh, good morning, she mumbled, still out of it. The pillow was... Huh? Wait, what? She jerked back, much to Michael and Sayori's amusement. You're awake! Aye, she chuckled. Aye, she parroted, though in a much louder tone, which made Michael's head hurt, causing him to wince painfully. Sorry, there's no comma there. Do you have any idea what you put me through? I saved your life, as I recall. Michael shot back. That would explain how I ended up in here. Should I not be asking you the same thing? You! She froze and slumped back down. You're right. Thanks again, Michael. I'm sorry I snapped at you. Hey! He said as he brushed some of her hair out of her mouth. It's all gonna be fine. You don't need to apologize to me. The movement made her blush, but she wasn't about to, but she didn't make a move to retreat as he stroked her chin once before letting his hand flop down to the bed again. The girl coughed. Am I intruding? Sugaha, next time you do that, I will invite your friend Rekon over to your home. She said as she jerked her gaze up. My VR apartment, right? Sugaha shrugged. You don't know my real address, and he'd be too scared to come in anyway. A fair point. But if I let your mother know that you will be having company when we get home... Michael let the threat hang in the air for a moment. Think about it. Sugaha paled. She knew by now that if pushed far enough, Michael would carry out his threats. Mataris would not be allowed to be discharged for a few days due to his severe concussion he had received. However, he managed to get Kikoka, I'm just going to call him Kikoka for now, from now on, to allow his nerve gear rig to be set up in the hospital, so long as his vitals were monitored during his dives. Anyway, why do you need it so badly, though? Kikoka had asked him over the phone. You might want to do some research on a man named Sugo Nobuyuki. Not gonna say the joke that I just came to my mom. Brain! I don't have one, apparently. Can someone buy me a new one? Not gonna say the joke that just came to my mind. There we go. English has not been found still. Maybe someone should call in search and rescue. I don't know. Michael had responded. He's not what he appears, and I have a feeling that more than one foul plot was cooked up in Element 6 Online. Alright, Kikoka had said, but I can't keep doing favors like this for you all the time, understand? You've done a lot for our team, but even I have my limits. I understand, Michael replied. Thank you, sir. Now, with only 2 days left to rescue Asuna and Kirito from the virtual world, Michael prepared to carefully don the nerve gear. His head still ached badly, but he had to go in to rescue his family, no matter the cost to his own health. Before he made the dive, though, he received a phone call from Sayuri. Brother, you don't have to come in, you know, she said. Sinon, Letha, and I can handle this thing, even if it's just the 3 of us. I understand why you feel that way, he said. But you already know what my reply is going to be. I know, she sighed. But I had to try anyways. See you at Kininui? I'll be there in a moment, yes. He nodded even though she couldn't see him. I look forward to fighting beside you again, sister. Me too, she replied quietly, and then the phone call ended. Michael set down the phone, looked over at the nurse that would be monitoring him, and nodded silently. She brought him his helmet and helped him get it on over the bandages. When it was in place, he laid back tentatively and closed his eyes. Link, start. And that's the end of the chapter. There's a little Omake thing I'm going to do in a second, but I want to say something from when I first watched the GGO arc. When I first watched it, I thought that somehow Kirito was going to end up, getting the whole, the whole poisoning thing done to him in the hospital. And then, later on, I thought, maybe the nurse was part of it. I'm a bit pessimistic by nature, so... Yeah, but, it was plausible at the time. Because, I was watching it on Crunchyroll as it was simulcast, so... Yeah. Anyway, on to the Omake thing. Kirito. Alright, finally, we're gonna get rescued! Asuna. Wait, does that mean that the segment will get cut when this happens? Mataris. I don't know. Probably not, seeing as people seem to like it so much. One never knows. Kirito. As long as we're in here somehow, I guess it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, who would you even do the segment with? Mataris. That's the problem. I don't know. I'm open to suggestions, though. Asuna. Oh, don't worry too much about it. I'm sure that you'll figure something out. Mataris. Perhaps. Nonetheless, I do believe it is time for me to sign off for now. Until next time, my friends. Kirito and Asuna. Bye, everyone. Okay, Mataris, I have a suggestion for you. So, Element 6 Online? Just do that for, a little longer. Some random mission type stuff. After you rescue them, obviously. But then... this was a crossover idea I had that I was going to run past you. And if you use it, then I won't. But if you don't use it, I will. If anyone steals this, I'm going to be a bit pissed. Do a thing called Dragon Lord Online or something like that, based off based off the Omega Chronicles. That would be epic. Just like just idea. Just that's it. Just an idea. If you don't use it, I will, and if someone else uses it, I'm gonna be pissed. Well then, but you're pretty much the only one that watches this. So anyway, another warrior out. See you guys.